Hello, my name is Airiel. I work here in the facilities department as a front desk associate. I'm here to talk about my experience with systemic racism. My story took place in the latter of the year of 2011 in Valparaiso, Indiana. I was actually in school at the time, a college student, and I was working at the Walmart in Valparaiso during the holiday season, getting ready for Black Friday. So there were long work hours, long school hours.
Hmm.
At the time, I had just had a child, and I was in school. So my parents we were in the process of looking for a car, and I begged my dad for his car. It was a '95 Cadillac CTS. I loved it. It was pearl white. It had the nice dark windows.
Too cool, right?
Yes, it was what I wanted. It was spacious. It drove so smooth. And my dad was so against it. He said, "You need something different. You have a child. You need to have a mom's vehicle, maybe a nice minivan." He told me. I was like, "No, I don't want that." So eventually, he just gave me the car. He didn't get it switched over to my name yet, but I was driving it. It was mine. And one evening, it was maybe about 11:30, maybe midnight. I was leaving work from Walmart to Valparaiso, and I got pulled over. Well, I was leaving work, and I had made it to Route 30, driving down 30, going west. And the police pulled behind me and turned on their lights. And of course, my parents, like when I was younger, my parents always said, you never want to pull over on the side of the road, or you want to get to where there's more light or maybe some people around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't see any of that. So I saw the closest parking lot out with the little lights on. So I pulled in. There was a Chili Bowl restaurant in Valparaiso. I pulled in, let my windows down, and I put my car in park. I was looking in the rearview mirror, and two officers exited the vehicle. The first one that came out on the driver's side, he immediately yelling, "Put your arms out the car and turn it off." And I immediately froze, like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what to do. But I calmed myself down, and I put my hands out of the window, and I said, "Is it okay to turn the car off now?" He's still yelling, shouting out commands. So I just took my right hand, turned off the car, and put it back outside the window. Both officers walked to the car, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger's. And he opened the door and told me to get out. He said, the first thing he says to me is, "Direct me to the drugs and the guns." Immediately, I'm like, "What are you talking, huh?" He said, "Direct me to the drugs and the guns, and we'll make this an easy, quick stop." I told her, "I do not have any drugs or guns. You're not going to find any in here. And this is my father's vehicle." I told him that immediately because I knew my dad hadn't switched over the registration and the title and everything,
Yeah,
but I did.
right. Yeah.
So when you run it, it's not going to come back in my name. He hadn't even at that point asked for driver's license or ID or anything, but I told him. And so they're searching the car. The cop on the passenger side sees my book bag. He said, "What's in here?" I told him, "I'm a college student. Those are books, notebooks, just school stuff." And so he opened it, ruffled through it, threw it back on the passenger seat. And maybe about 30, 45 seconds later, he's under the passenger side, front passenger seat. And he pulls out a small brown paper bag. And he's like, "What's in here?" And he's shaking and laughing. And I'm like, "I don't know. This is my dad's car. There's no drugs or guns in it. I know that." So he opens the bag and drops the items on the back of the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And out he drops a tin of Copenhagen snuff. And he's like, "I thought you said there weren't any drugs in here." And I'm like, "This is my dad's car. He chews tobacco. It's not mine."
Since when is that a drug?
Exactly. And I guess I wasn't loud. I wasn't aggressive or anything like that. At this time, I'm actually just blown away.
Yeah.
They still had this one hadn't asked for a driver's license. They hadn't asked what I was doing out there. They hadn't asked me anything. They just immediately wanted drugs and guns. He wasn't happy. He hadn't found anything. At that time, I don't even think they had ran the place to know whose car it was. Then he put me in handcuffs, had me sit in the back of his patrol car while I don't know if they were running everything the car's name and everything. Still hadn't asked me for proof of insurance, my driver's license, or anything. But I had already called my parents when I got pulled over because I knew I was far from home and I wanted them to know what was going on. I sat back there. The other officer that kind of stepped back from the stop, he told me, if you're honest with us, everything will be okay, and he'll let me go on about my business. The other cop walks to the patrol car, and he says to me, at this time they had run the plates, and he was asking for my ID and everything, and he said, well, we're pulling you over for speeding. You were going 60 and a 45, and I was like, well, that's not possible. I can't go that fast. And he was like, are you calling me a liar? You trying to make a liar out of me? I said, no, sir, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just telling you I can't go 60 miles per hour. I can't go 50 miles per hour. And he got mad all over again.
And he uses bad language?
Yes. Oh, yes, from the beginning. Yes. Not so much calling me out of my name, but just the tone and the language he chose to use, the curse words and things like that. Yeah. And before he got too upset, I said, well, I can't go past 50 miles per hour. My parents just gave me that car, and the fuel pump is bad. I can't go over 45 miles per hour, which is why I'm not on the expressway going home. But you can look in the glove box, and there's a diagnostics test from Jiffy Lube in there that will say I can't go over and why I can't go over, which is why my dad didn't want to give me the car to begin with, because maintenance on a Cadillac can be expensive. I now know, and I didn't. That was the last time I drove it, but that's the story.
Yeah.
So his partner went in the glove compartment and got the little yellow sheet from the diagnostics test from Jiffy Lube, and he then saw, like, she's not lying, like, this car had, the car did have that problem. And then they asked for my driver's license. Then they asked for my proof of insurance. After going through all of this, where they found nothing wrong, they found no drugs, they found no guns. All they found was me and my dad's car with the bad fuel pump. By the time they decided that, they didn't want me to drive off in the car. And this was the other officer, the second officer, was the fuel pump's bad, and if it's going out, and this is just what he said, maybe you should call someone to come get you. But I had already called my parents. I was upset at that time because I didn't know if both of them were coming or just one. Luckily, both of them did come, so my dad was able to drive his Cadillac back home, and I drove in the truck with my mom. But when they made it there, they ran their driver's license and their plates and everything again.
Why?
They had no reason. They didn't say anything. My parents just, they weren't worried about it. So I guess they, okay, whatever. Do what you got to do. But we just left from the Chili Bowl parking lot and went on home. That ordeal, I got off work maybe about 11, maybe about midnight. We made it home maybe about 2:15. So all of that for absolutely nothing.
For absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And they assumed there were drugs and guns.
Over an assumption. And that's what my parents, they never really gave me the talk about what to do in that instant. Like, not really what to worry about. But, from being in college and going to school in an urban area, there are things you hear and there are things you know. And you always get that gut feeling. You get, you don't want to do too much or say too much, just enough. So, like, even in that instance, when I saw that the police officer was becoming a bit irate, I just stepped in and just gave him the information he needed right then and there. Although it was completely unnecessary, but just, provide the information and give it to him without, you're not giving me a reason why you're pulling me over. You have done all these things without even asking for. You don't even know who I am, It was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't speeding. Now, then they knew I wasn't speeding. You haven't found any drugs or any guns.
Basically driving while black.
Basically. They saw a young black woman in a nice, clean Cadillac and cruising down the Route 30.
Cruising slowly down Route 30.
Yes, slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And so, since you mentioned your son, has he Have you had to give him the talk already?
I have had to give him the talk, unfortunately. He's 10 now, but he's always been in private school. He's now in a private Catholic school. Before there, he went to a Montessori school in a different area, and where he was the minority.
Mm-hmm.
And he had several instances where things arose, where conversations. He once had a Caucasian. They were playing. Maybe he was in first grade, and they were playing tag. And my son caught up with the boy, and the boy was like, "You can't touch me. My mom said your kind can't touch me." And what really upset me about that is you'll get calls when your child is misbehaving or not listening or not sharing during snack time, but you wouldn't call me when a statement is said to me like that. I'm pick my child up from school Mom, someone told me I can't touch them because I'm black. As a first grader. And you're like, I immediately got upset.
Oh, yeah.
But, I'm dealing with a 6-year-old here. So I don't want to go over the top, but I want to know what happened and why wasn't I called? And their answer was they didn't think it was necessary, that they handled it at school. I actually found out who the child's parent was because, in school we had a email form or where we could talk to each other, let each other know what was going on for projects and everything. And when I posted on there what happened, the little boy's mother called me. She said, "That was my child, and I do apologize. I don't know where he heard or got that from, but that's not how we raise our child." And she was upset because the school didn't call her and let her know that her child said that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So as I had to talk to my 6-year-old child about, you don't worry about you be nice and treat everyone kind, but you still have to worry about how people treat you.
Yeah.
You protect your feelings, but you have to be mindful of other people's feelings as well.
Yeah.
And you have to, he don't know the difference. My son was 6 and I could say, "Well, what color is he?" And he'd say apricot. They don't know the difference, and you don't want to teach them hate. You want them to be kind and love everyone because you want everyone to treat your child like that, even as adults. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you very much, Airiel. This is a powerful story.
Most certainly, no problem.
All right. And this was back in 2011 when you were pulled over. That's not so far behind.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Wow. Well, God bless you and thank you. And may your son grow up in a better world.
Definitely.
And your new little baby.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.